Hello, it's me. The UK is the old country, full of empire and tradition, and unfortunately full of institutions, old and flaccid, and frankly, well past their sell-by date. Two such institutions who sit atop the pyramid here in the UK are the royal family and the BBC. Now, I'm not sure if I've made my feelings clear on this channel about the royal family. I am not a royalist. But I'm not one of these people who hates the royals either. Do I want the royal institution abolished? Yes, but not in any kind of chase them off with torches and pitchforks kind of a way. No, I favour a very quiet and dignified dismantling. Let them live their lives in peace and wealth until they ceased to be, whenever that is. I don't think they should have any influence in the UK. But if you were to ask me, would a great British Republic led by politicians do any better? Well, if you look at the state of Britain currently, the answer has to be no. And so it's in this dissatisfactory and edifying mess that we turn our gaze to the BBC, an institution that has, in my opinion, messaged rather subversively that the status quo is, in actual fact, fine. And that brings me to the BBC debacle, specifically its licence fee. British citizens are cancelling the licence fee in their droves. The BBC, smelling the beginning of its own slow demise, has decided to update the licence fee conditions. And here is where we get into rather murky territory. The BBC is not above sharp practice, not above sleight of hand, not above telling you that black is white, and in some instances where right is wrong. And so it's released some papers muting various possibilities for licence fee payers. I've long argued that we should go to a subscription model for the BBC. If you want to use it, then pay for it. Fine. It seems to be the cleanest and most obvious route to go down. But no, the BBC has decided in its infinite wisdom to, shall we say, pull a fast one? Yes, the BBC has decided, why just to reform when you can actually get more? So rather than just go for the clean and easy route of subscription, it's decided, no, we really can't do without millions of pounds that we gather every year from people via menaces and threats, and so we must do something new and innovative. And to this end, they've come up with brave new decisions, ideas and potentials that, well, extract money out of your pocket. Now, currently in the UK, we listen to the radio, BBC Radio, free, I believe, unless you're a business, in which case you have to buy a licence then to broadcast the BBC. And I always thought that was kind of reasonable, because you are effectively rebroadcasting the BBC's original broadcast. But the general public at large got to enjoy the BBC radio service for free. Now, admittedly, I think this is just still a proposal, and I'm using a thumbnail here from Ringway Manchester. Shout out to them for producing their content. And, of course, the ever insightful Daniel Shen-Smith, the Black Belt barrister, has got a lot to say on the subject. I, for one, saw this coming, because we live in a world where reform of a service in actual fact means let's sting 'em for more cash. Now, what makes this so insidious is the fact that, in my opinion, the BBC has been acting for decades now as an arm of the government. Specifically, PR, messaging, narration control. And although it doesn't seem like it to many people because, let's face it, life is tough enough as it is, the BBC have been indulging in statecraft. Most notably, against its own population. The money that it gathers, which is a pretty penny every year, is used to produce some great TV, but also, I think, used to steer the conversation, whatever that conversation might be. The BBC can't die. It has too many fingers in too many pies. Britain's secret state has become far too dependent on it. It can't have an inquiry into its efficacy, because that would just show too many skeletons in too many closets. I said just the other day that Parliament was rotten from the inside, and the BBC is no exception. What it's become is a hateful, spiteful corporate entity, which does nothing but leech finances from the citizens of this country. Good people who, frankly, and I'll say it again, deserve better. And so here in the UK, at the very top of the pyramid, despite all the shining towers, the gold carriages, the upper class broadcasting, and the inevitable clinging to empire, there is here the smell of shit. The great British citizens of this country are bound by empire and tradition. The royal family have counted on it, and the BBC cling to it. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe, and share if you'd like. And until next time, do look after yourselves.